Today's spotlight is on a musical that feels as bold in its ambition as it does fragile in its execution, Cesar Alvarez's new piece, The Potluck. The show opens with a confession, a frustrated composer staring at a laptop, sighing about writer and the weight of capitalism that seems to suffocate the creative process. Alvarez himself appears on stage as a version of himself, portrayed by actor Anthony Alfaro, channeling this writer's block into a restless monologue that sets the scene for a work that aspires to call for revolutionary action, yet seems to struggle to deliver it. The source material for this ambitious Karen is a painful chapter in American history, the 1979 Greensboro Massacre. 5 protesters, members of the Communist Workers' Party, were killed by the Ku Klux Klan and an affiliated American Nazi organization during a demonstration. Alvarez, whose parents were organizers of the demonstration but were not present on the day of the tragedy, crafted the narrative to honor those lost while also interrogating his own identity. Even after the massacre, his parents moved back to the community, and they renamed one son Cesar James Alvarez in remembrance, a detail that carries heavy weight in the storyline. The musical confronts its subject matter head-on by incorporating an explicit video clip from 1979. The footage is so harrowing that audience members are granted the option to leave during its play. In a still chilling irony, 2 criminal juries the perpetrators while the tragic footage remains on screen. Alvarez's call to action, revolutionary change through the song and narrative, humbles the absence of justice, but it also leaves the listener to wrestle with what is possible. A recurring motif is an almost sibling formation between Alvarez's onstage persona and a figure named Mom, played by Bugalin Barbara Walsh, and Dad, played by Ruben Flores. The parents appear working in a kitchen set, their brittle concerns overflowing into a tense dialogue that mirrors the conflict between personal grief and a collective memory. Alvarez's character calls the parents' obsession navel-gazing, only for them to point out that perhaps that is the only refuge left for him. Within this context, the musical also charts the ups and downs of queer identity. Alvarez's parents, inside a communist framework, apparently saw queerness as a distraction from revolution, and the onstage caretaking of the female parents suggests that they might be right, or are they nurturing his own story for self-centered reasons? Even the crew includes a figure named Moss, played by Jasmine Raphael, a quiet, pragmatic intern who helps with scoring the music. The two form a striking dynamic. Alfaro Cesar lounges, in a flamboyant golden beret and butter-yellow harem pants, while Moss pepper the set with careful, composed lines. As the audience progresses through the music, the longing for action is punctuated with personal plea. The show is a mixed musical meal designed to ask, not push, the audience to consider why he wrote the piece, and why it isn't the call to action it promised. All these voices collide in a moment that is about more than the Greensboro Massacre alone. It questions the material, the oppressive capitals, the path to revolution, and whether the generations of poor memory will ever be able to narrate it differently. That's the day's discussion. The musical is not meant as a textbook but as a meeting point between whole parents, a queer kid, and a piece of history that still refuses to lead to an indictable conclusion. So explore your emotions before your calendar or your next planner invites you to an action you might not have been ready for. Tune in next week for another thought-provoking performance. Thank you for joining me, and best of luck navigating the implications of a nation that refuses to let history teach itself without a penalty note.